The Possession of Ravena, a series of short stories. The sharp air of the city morgue wrapped around Detective Riley like a cold blanket. Fresh out of rehab, she stood surrounded by the gleaming metal tables under the harsh lights. Each table held a silent story, the final chapter of someone's life. The only sound was the steady hum of the machines, a background tune to the worries playing in Riley's head. Every breath reminded her of past mistakes, the forced sobriety, and the fear of an unknown future. This graveyard shift at the morgue, a boring job she barely got, was supposed to be a quiet way to get back on her feet. But as she looked at the rows of bodies, a shiver ran down her spine. It wasn't just the cold, it was a feeling deep inside, a whisper telling her this quiet night wouldn't be so quiet after all. The silence was shattered by the rumble of gurney wheels on polished concrete. A new arrival, a young woman, pale and lifeless, with eyes forever closed beneath delicately arched brows. No name adorned the body tag, just the stark word Ravena scrawled in black marker. A shiver, unrelated to the morgue's temperature, racked Riley as she prepped the body for examination. The routine motions of her past career felt alien, rusty from disuse. As she ran her gloved fingers over the smooth skin, a faint sound, barely audible, snaked into her ears. A whisper, inhuman and laced with malice, seemed to emanate from the deceased. Heart hammering against her ribs, Riley dismissed it as a trick of exhaustion, a figment of her frayed nerves. But a seed of doubt had been planted, a chilling premonition that refused to be dismissed. Riley finally drifted off to sleep, but it wasn't peaceful. Nightmares exploded in her head, vivid and scary. Glowing red eyes, full of evil, stared out from under sheets on the morgue tables. Horrible growls, deep and beastly, echoed through the clean halls. It felt like a concert of the damned, conducted by something unseen. Riley woke up with a gasp, sweat soaking her clothes. She fumbled for the light switch, the white walls offering no comfort. On her pillow, a single black feather stood out against the white sheets, a creepy reminder of the night she'd spent fighting unseen monsters, both real and imagined. The next night, the morgue turned into a scene straight out of Riley's worst nightmares. Scalpels flew through the air, clanging against the metal tables like crazy. The lights flickered on and off, making everything jumpy and scary. Doors slammed shut with a bang, like someone kicked them hard. Panic choked Riley. She could barely breathe as she saw the most terrifying thing ever. A body bag on a table started to shake and move. The inhuman growls from her dreams filled the room, real this time. This wasn't a normal dead body. Pure terror ran through Riley. This wasn't just a job anymore. This was a fight to stay alive. Riley couldn't sleep anymore. Dark circles under her eyes showed how scared she was. She had to find out what was going on with Ravena. Days were spent in dusty libraries, searching through old records. At night, she went to dark bars and listened to people whisper about the past. Slowly, a creepy story came together. Ravena, a young woman, was kicked out of town long ago because people thought she was a witch. Shunned by everyone, she disappeared, leaving only rumors and a weird feeling behind. But the whispers said more. They talked about a powerful evil that followed Ravena, a darkness that clung to her soul even after she died. Riley knew this wasn't a coincidence. Ravena's arrival at the morgue, the crazy things happening, it was all connected to that darkness that wouldn't go away. Now that Riley knew the creepy truth about Ravena, a cold fear filled her gut. The evil spirit inside the young woman was strong, feeding off fear and sadness. Finding a way to get rid of it became an obsession. Days melted into nights as Riley searched through dusty books in a hidden part of the city library. She needed anything that could help her banish the evil spirit. Finally, deep in a restricted section, she found a leather-covered book. The pages were yellow and crumbling, and the title was written in a weird language that sent chills down her spine. It was called Liber Tenebris, a book of forbidden rituals, a way to talk to dark and unknown things. Riley didn't want to use this scary book, but she was desperate. With shaking hands, she opened it. The air smelled old and dusty, like forgotten knowledge. The ritual inside looked complicated and terrifying, but it promised to get rid of the evil spirit. Tears welled up in Riley's eyes as she read the words. Was she ready to face this darkness head-on? Did she have to use this scary magic to save herself? The air crackled with nervous energy as Riley set up for the ritual. The morgue floor, once clean and boring, became a battleground against the coming darkness. Riley carefully drew symbols from the spooky book on the floor with chalk. They glowed faintly under the harsh lights. Ravena's body lay in the middle of the circle, the source of the evil force filling the room. With shaky hands, Riley began the ritual, her voice echoing through the silent halls as she spoke powerful words to banish the evil. The room got colder, and the shadows on the walls danced, turning into scary shapes. The evil inside Ravena fought back, making loud growls and shrieks fill the air. Riley started to doubt herself, the scary magic from the book feeling heavy on her. But then she remembered all the people who died because of fear, and how darkness grew stronger from it. With a burst of courage, she decided not to banish the evil, but to make a deal. Instead of forcing it out, she offered it peace, a way to escape its endless suffering. The air hung heavy and quiet. No more screams, just an eerie silence. Slowly, the symbols on the floor faded, and the shadows crept back into the corners. Worn out and scared, Riley slumped to the floor next to Ravena. Did it work? A thin wisp of smoke and a faint sulfur smell confirmed the evil was gone. As dawn painted the sky orange, a new day began. Riley walked out of the morgue changed. A long, rough scar on her arm would always remind her of the night she fought the darkness. But her eyes, once filled with fear, now held a new kind of strength. The morgue, once a place of fear, became her watchtower, a silent guardian against unseen dangers, a symbol of how strong people can be, even in the face of horrible things. Years went by. The city bustled on, oblivious to the battle that had happened in the quiet morgue. Riley never left. She became a constant guard against the darkness that hid just under the surface. The whispers never truly disappeared, but they didn't scare her anymore. Every night, as she sat down in her chair, a single white feather peeked out of her pocket, catching the moonlight. It was a symbol of peace, reminding her of the dark force she'd faced and the strength she found inside herself. The scars, both on her body and mind, stayed with her. They were a reminder to stay alert, to never get comfortable. Because Riley knew that in the dark corners of the world, both good and bad things hid. And she, the guardian of the forgotten, would be ready for the next whisper in the dark.